Greetings, family, and welcome to any newcomers. Y'all are family too now. Stay tuned. I'll have more about how to become official members of the Read My Mind radio family at the end of the episode. Some of you do know that I have the ability to read minds. If you're suspicious about that statement, well, go back to the Blind Girl Magic episode and you'll see it for yourself. Yeah. In fact, I can read so deep into your mind, I already know you're not only going to enjoy this episode, you're going to want to let all of your friends know. Why not just go ahead right now? And first, make sure you're subscribed or following the podcast. Second, go ahead and hit that share button and say something like, "Hey friend, I'm listening to this podcast I just heard about recently. I thought it was about audio description, but it's actually so much more than that." Now, send it to someone you love. I mean, if you really love them. Yo, T, the love thing? That might be a bit too much. Fine. I just really think you're going to want to share the podcast. All right. You'll see. Read.
My mind.
Read.
My mind.
Hey, I'm Nick Novicki. I'm a little person with a bit of a beard going on right now. I'm wearing a black shirt. My pronouns are he, him, his. And I'm a comedian, actor, writer, producer, and I'm the founder and director of the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge.
If you're not familiar with the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge, EDFC, you should be. EDFC is a filmmaking competition that provides a platform that aims to increase representation of people with disabilities both in front of and behind the camera. The challenge emphasizes authentic storytelling and provides mentorship and educational opportunities. It's a chance to showcase disability talent in front and behind the camera and gain exposure in the entertainment industry. Founder Nick Novicki has been in over 50 television shows and movies, among them HBO's Boardwalk Empire.
Me and the boys want to raise to work the Celtic dinner.
Absolutely not.
Nucky, $5 a man is just not enough for enduring that kind of humiliation.
Dancing a jig in a leprechaun outfit? You call that humiliating?
What do you call it?
Show business.
The majority of my work has been self-driven, with me writing and producing and creating my own content, because I'm 3'10", and ultimately nobody was creating the kind of stuff for me through the traditional system. I wasn't getting the opportunities through regular auditions that I wanted, so I started doing it myself.
Nick reaped the rewards of doing that work and wants the same for others.
I remember 12 years ago being like, why aren't more people with disabilities creating their own work? Because it created all these opportunities for me. And I've always felt a common bind, not only to other little people, but to people with other disabilities, whether you're blind, you're deaf, you have an invisible disability or wheelchair user. I just think there's so much talent within our community. So that's what made me create the Disability Film Challenge.
What Nick initially thought would be a one-time thing has turned into an annual event. We can't actually talk about the film challenge without learning more about Nick's own career and experience. As you'll see, they're tied together. So let's go back a little bit. I'm interested in how you got started. You're a stand-up comedian and actor, so what came first, acting or comedy?
I really started doing a version of stand-up comedy when I was a little kid. I used to raise money for Little People of America, and I would do these talks at Rotary clubs. Now, I was so small at that time. I'm still 3'10", but when I was a kid, I was so small. So I'd go behind this podium. There'd never be anything for me to stand on. So I'd always make a joke about it. I'd go, hey, who forgot the stool? Who's planning this thing? Everybody would start dying because I'm a little kid and I'm heckling the organizer. I realized in that moment that when I'm talking now, everyone is entertained and now they're listening to what I have to say.
Recognizing the power and the strength in who you are early in life is a gift. As a young child, Nick had aspirations of playing professional sports.
Even though I'm a little person and was always so much smaller than everybody, I played. I played in all the local sports, and then all of a sudden when I went to junior high, everybody got way too big, and also I had more things related to my dwarfism, so I was having a hard time walking. So I decided to find theater, and I loved it. I was doing plays all through middle school and high school. I thought I was just gonna, do that for fun because I got a scholarship to go to business school. But then my first week of college, I found stand up comedy.
Shout out to Temple University. TU? I'm a proud dad of a Temple grad. Okay, let's hear more about that first experience with stand-up comedy.
As being a little person growing up in New Haven, just living my life, when people are going to say something about me, I'll deflect and I'll do a joke. I always knew how to use comedy to diffuse the situation and to sort of be like my turtle shell. So, first week of college, I'm going on a date with a girl that was also a little person. We go to this comedy club and we get sat in the front row. And I've never been to a comedy show, just turned 19 2 weeks before. So we go in the front row and every single comedian, this is an open mic night, is just like, look at that. It's Willow and Willow's wife. And they're just cracking on us every time. And she was upset by it. But I was just like, okay, I'm just laughing along. And I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. And, the host comes up to me and goes, you want to come back next week? You can tell your side.
I had my own experience sitting in the front row of a comedy show. This was before blindness, and fortunately, the comedian was nice to me. Some might say I have a don't mess with me face. But trust me, there's no protection from comedians. Never sit in the front row.
I know you got listeners from all over the country and all over the world. The Northeast, there's a different energy in New York, New Haven, Philadelphia, Boston. People don't just keep what they're thinking in their head. They always say it out loud. Hey, look, he's little. Look at that, man. How old are you? What's up? Are you blind?
My first reaction, defend the East Coast. But I just can't yet. Let's keep going.
I think that there is a good thing about openness. So I prefer to just let things be out in the open. That's the way I've always been. I'm not going to let you upset me. I don't care. Yeah, I am little. You don't need to be weirded out or concerned about why I'm the way I am. I am the way I am, and it is the way I am.
I love that perspective. But at the same time, for my East Coasters, we don't always have to say what's on our minds. At least, let it simmer before you let it out your mouth. To Nick's point, there is value in the conversation.
I think there's a different energy sometimes when people are staring and they won't say anything, rather than asking a question and then moving on where we're at in the moment, socially or professionally. I think it's important to be upfront and open. I've always said, let my comedy help elevate that, so that, again, now I'm breaking the ice with a joke, and now we're moving on.
Let's get back to Nick being invited to share his perspective on stage at the comedy club's open mic. Spoiler, he went back.
I sign up and I just tell everything from my point of view. Growing up, being little, I can't reach this. It gave me something that was just addictive. It was the ability for me to tell my point of view of life, to talk about my experience, some of which was just me being a teenager, having a hard time. I had literally broke up with that girl in that week. So not only was I just talking about my life as a little person, I'm just complaining about things that were relatable to anybody. I fell in love with it.
It's not just about knowing what you like, it's what moves you. And don't underestimate the value in self-awareness.
I'm not necessarily the greatest comedian in the world or the greatest actor in the world, but I am good at meeting people and selling them about what I want to do and an idea and a passion and why we should all work together. So really, at the end of the day, I'm kind of a connector. That's what I am as a filmmaker, as a producer. I put people together. I don't usually have access to the money, but what I think I am pretty good at is selling my passion for comedy and my passion for acting. And it's the same passion that's there for the disability community.
The Easterseals Disability Film Challenge combines Nick's passion for film, the disability community, and self-determination.
You oftentimes in Hollywood get put in a box, whether you have a disability or whether you don't. And I think when you do have a disability, when you're a little person, you get put into that box for little people roles. I wasn't getting those media auditions to be the guy that gets the girl or the boss, the kind of great roles that an up-and-coming actor would want to get. I was limited in those kind of auditions.
Meanwhile, Nick had options, including business school and opportunities to work on Wall Street.
I did this because I love to do it. So for me, it was always about how can I do the kind of projects that I want to do. I always grew up being a fan of The Godfather. I was like, look, no one's going to write me into that role, so I need to write it for myself.
What was the first role that you wrote for yourself since you started doing that?
I was writing a web series. I did something called The Urban Guardian.
Everything in my life was going great. I had the woman of my dreams. All of a sudden, she starts.
And it was a guy who wasn't a superhero. He didn't really have any superpowers, but he just liked to wear this outfit to try to get girls. And so it's just me kind of running around and I can't really fix things and I'm trying to, date. So I always kind of thought of ways to just write something so that I could be on a date or in a romantic situation or the gangster in roles that I wanted to play.
Fortunately, Nick was aware that a career in acting is uncertain. He began writing and producing his own material after landing what many would perceive as a major win.
Mr. Soprano, Zazu said to tell you.
I booked a role on The Sopranos when I was pretty young. It wasn't like a gangster, I was just a nightclub manager. I was like, now I need to show myself on what it could look like to be a gangster.
Nick didn't become a made man or the head of a crime family. Of course, I'm talking about movie roles. I don't know what he does in his personal life. What's really important, though, he found a blueprint in his process for creating the film.
I was able to put people together, a real high quality camera person, a writer, and I just sold them in my vision. Hey, can you help me for this one day? You need to figure out one day, one weekend that you're going to do something. The camera person, I need you on this one day. And the editor, I need you for this very short period of time. So that's always been my philosophy.
An optimistic way of looking at the world and people, in my humble opinion, is actually pretty important to getting things done.
I think that people want to help. I think overall for the disability community, people that don't have disabilities, I have always found want to help. They want to be there as an ally.
The next steps in this grassroots or guerrilla style approach to production is a hard deadline.
Figure out how to get people so that you're only asking for them to work at a reduced rate or in some cases for free for one day. You're over asking if you're trying to get people to work lower than their normal rates for extended periods of times. It's never going to happen.
Respecting people's time means being upfront and realistic about your ask. It also means this is your project, so you need to assure that everything is accounted for.
You need to get the equipment. You need to get the location. You need to plan everything out. And I think it's very important for you to really show your appreciation for the people that help you with this project, that help you create this vision.
Of course, the appreciation can be shown with cash money, but there's more.
I can write a letter. I can send a nice email. I can call them and tell them how much I appreciate them. And I can also show other people how great that person is and recommend them for other jobs.
So that is EDFC.
Literally, I came up with the idea initially 12 years ago of the Disability Film Challenge based on what I was doing in my own career. Shortened periods of time, putting people together, getting stuff done for oftentimes with zero budget, talking to restaurants about trying to get free food. If I was paying somebody, it was a very small kit fee. So everything that the original Disability Film Challenge was based on things that I did in my own career.
The Disability Film Challenge was formed.
The first Disability Film Challenge 12 years ago, I thought was just going to be a one-off competition. We had 5 films that were created that first year. Actually, the films were only done in 3 days. Now we have 5 days where you make films. And then the disability community is like, when's the next one? I was like, whoa, I guess I have to do another one. So then I did year 2, and then it kept growing. And then Peter Fairley came on board as a mentor that year too.
Peter Fairley is a filmmaker, director, screenwriter, producer, and novelist. Known for films including There's Something About Mary, Dumb and Dumber, Shallow Hal, Kingpin, and several others. He's also been a longtime supporter of disability rights.
Word was spreading, and then it kept growing. And then I partnered with Easterseals in 2017. Easterseals is the nation's largest disability services organization. So it's now the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. Now we have 850 films that have been created from around the world over these last 12 years.
Films from around the world, which means representing a global perspective of disability.
When you talk about the word disability, 1 in 4 Americans have a disability, and that's self identifying as having a disability. But that also includes so many different kinds of disability: little people, wheelchair users, you have cerebral palsy, blind, deaf, invisible disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, veteran with PTSD, all these different disabilities. And they're all making films and showcasing their disability.
To be clear, EDFC is about disability representation behind and in front of the camera. Disability as a topic is not required.
I'm proud to be little. I'm proud to have a disability. That's always been the way I've been my whole life. But when it comes to making art, I don't necessarily always want to talk about being a little person in my own projects. I like to just let that I am a little person be another layer to the film. Now, we don't need to address it through making comments. The medium of film addresses it for us.
Of course, those of us who are blind require access to that identifying information.
Generally speaking, the film challenge is really an opportunity where everybody makes their own films. And I've always encouraged since day one, make these films as accessible as you can. Everyone should be welcome. Just being 100% honest, my community and my place within the disability world was other little people. That was the disability community that I grew up with and that I knew. So I grew up with little people. I went to little people conventions. When I started the film challenge, I didn't know as many other disabled people.
I don't have any hard data, but I could imagine this is quite common. When I became blind, I didn't seek out disability organizations. I specifically sought out others who were blind. I think that framing could make a person's perspective of accessibility pretty narrow. That is, until you're exposed to those different from you.
And I think year after year, we started to figure out, oh, wait a minute, we got somebody in a wheelchair. We can't do a Q&A and this guy's not able to go.
In addition to physical access, we know that there are those requiring sensory access as well. That includes captions and audio description.
So, frankly, because of the scale, the amount of films, it was daunting. We're always in a place where between budgets, between scaling things, we're learning and trying to figure out how to get things done. We had a discussion, me and you, and we talked about audio description, what could be done. And I remember saying, we have 123 films that are created and put online within a week. And I mean, you were like, whoa! I was like, well, what if we were to do, the finalist films and create audio description for the finalist films? And even that, in a very short time frame,
which is fitting with the Disability Film Challenge, the AD Film Challenge.
That's right. That's right.
We're talking 8 days to produce description for up to 16 films. For Social Audio Description Collective, that means all hands on deck. We're going through as much of our production process as possible, with the exception of communicating with the film creators. The EDFC team selects the finalists, including Best Film, Best Director, Best Editing, etc., but they don't announce that until the award ceremony. Therefore, SADC needs to have all the films described and returned to the EDFC team in time for the ceremony, where the finalist films are viewed with open audio description. That's cool, but I'm not going to act as if 15 described films out of over 100 is a complete solution. I will say it's a significant start.
I'm 42 years old. I was born before the Americans with Disabilities Act existed. To be honest, the ADA is here, but not necessarily always enforced. When I go into the airports in LA, I can't wash my hands in a lot of places. I can't reach buttons, and I do jokes about it, but we're living in a world that is not always perfect, that is not always fully accessible for everybody. I think access is something that evolves.
True indeed. And while we wait on that evolution, personally, I'm for doing everything we can to spark that revolution. Which, by the way, should be televised, shown in theaters, streamed online, acted out on stage, all with equitable access, including captions, description, ASL, and let's not forget enhanced transcripts for our deafblind family. You can't do it all, but these parameters that you have, sometimes they help you get it done. AD is a lot more intensive than captions. And so to ask a filmmaker who doesn't know much about blindness, doesn't know anything about audio description, and so to ask them to sort of create this within that 5-day period, that's a lot. At least it's bringing the attention of audio description to the rest of the community. And if we are going to have access, I think the community showing that we care about each other's access, I think that's a big deal.
I agree.
When we, the disability community, work together to assure our own access to our content, we model the concept of interdependence and mutual aid. We set the expectation for others. It's what EDFC is doing for filmmaking. You can check out all of the audio described finalist films from both 2024 and 2025 Easterseals Disability Film Challenge on YouTube. I'll link you there directly from this episode's blog post at readmymind.com.
Now, I'm wondering too, when, frankly, like YouTube will make it so there's that AD button, like a CC button, so that things can come on and off.
Right now, AD consumers, you have to find the AD version of the film, which has been uploaded separately with open audio description. Unlike the interface found on other streaming networks that let you simply select the AD track. EDFC filmmakers need to check both versions of their film to figure out how many people actually watch the film.
I think it's up to some of these tech companies, Meta, YouTube, to step their game up.
Well, it's funny because I've been told that they have it, but they've been rolling it out slowly, and I don't understand why. To me, they should give EDFC access to this because that would make a lot of sense.
It would make a lot of sense. It would make things easier.
The exposure these films receive is creating even more opportunities for many involved in front and behind the camera. In fact, the industry, the community, and individuals are all simultaneously benefiting.
The Easterseals Disability Film Challenge has been a huge resource for the Casting Society of America. And the casting directors and the networks and the studios have been finding Film Challenge films and directly reaching out to people and auditioning them for roles that don't have to do with their disability, specifically because of the challenge and the films that are all on YouTube.
And we know representation matters.
Generally, we're 1 in 4 of the population, but we're less than 2% of on-screen representation. A major study came out that said the vast majority of those are played by non-disabled actors.
EDFC is having a direct impact on improving authentic representation.
We have so many success stories that have come for people getting hired in front of the camera. This year, Amazon MGM Studios said, hey, we have a role for a movie. They didn't tell us what movie it was. We're looking for actors on the autism spectrum. Do you have any actors? We were able to send them several dozen films, and they ended up casting Nick Sanchez, but everybody else got auditions.
That project? The Accountant 2.
Same thing happened on a TV show, Loudermilk, which is very popular on Netflix. Peter Farrelly said, hey, we're looking for a little person actress. Do you know anybody? We were able to send several dozen little people actresses. They all auditioned. And Sophia Cheyenne, a little person actor in New York, who's so talented and has been busting her butt for years doing theater, ended up getting to audition, ended up in a multi-year recurring role filming in Vancouver.
And those behind the camera?
We've had editors on the autism spectrum that got hired on dozens of jobs and got to meet with mentors from HBO and HBO Max. We've had people get development meetings. We had a deaf director, Chrissy Marshall, and she just got accepted into the Sony Diverse Directing Program, Sony Pictures Television. So she's getting in front of people and literally from the challenge and now spotlighted to possibly being able to direct TV. And through this amazing program, CBS has put people into casting initiatives, both as actors, but also learning how to be a casting director.
Shining a light on these films can lead to a wider distribution.
Film festivals reach out to us and they say, hey, we're a festival here in the US and we want to screen your film. We're a festival in Europe. We're a festival in India. We've gotten contacted by festivals in Russia, all over the world. They want to screen these films. And the coolest thing is everybody owns their own film. So they have the ability to screen and submit these films and turn these films into larger projects.
EDFC is even helping with that.
We have grants that have been awarded to Film Challenge participants so they could further develop their projects. Adobe gave us a major grant to give other grants out. We were able to give $25,000 grants out this year for Film Challenge films, alumni from the past, to be able to further develop their projects.
In addition to the exposure, the grants, participating in the Film Challenge adds to a person's demo reel, increases their network, and provides real-world experience. And for any other film festivals listening, please take note. Finalists also receive the Access Assets. That's the captions and audio description files. This is extremely helpful in general, but also for those festivals that require accessibility.
And shout out to y'all.
Let's be real. You don't get the growth and the results that EDFC has achieved over the past 12 years without Nick getting out there and promoting this event.
I'm thinking about it at night. I'm waking up. I'm going to events. I always have a flyer on me. And that's the way it started. I hustled big time. I went to film festivals. I would put flyers up outside of places just with scotch tape outside of banks and restaurants and things where I didn't have permission. I just put it out there.
Nick made sure to let me know he had some help.
I got to give my wife, who's also a little person, Teal, huge credit and shout out. She was there with me in the beginning for our first editing workshop that we had, but we were making sandwiches. I would promote, you're going to learn how to edit for free, and we got free sandwiches.
So all of that was on your own dime, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah. I was maxing out credit graph. We have a lot of amazing sponsors now. Easterseals has been amazing and really helped me escalate the challenge. But I got to say that a lot of times we have to be creative still. Things get really expensive. We try to make everything for free and accessible, and we're doing everything we can to try to push the community forward and push representation forward. The Film Challenge, it is a community. We get together at events. Oftentimes, the event is supposed to end at this time, and we're still all there. We get kicked out. Eventually, people are like, hey, you guys got to go. You can't stay here anymore. It's a beautiful community, and we just love being around each other and supporting each other.
With all the effort Nick puts into the Film Challenge, he still finds time to continue working as a touring comedian.
I'm lucky to still be working a lot as a comedian. I tour with Nate Bargatze. I'm still working as an actor a lot. But I work on this challenge every single day of the week. There's another feeling that I get in my stomach and in my heart when I know that other people are following their dreams through this. I never really would have thought it would have snowballed like that. I'm just the luckiest guy in the world that, one, I've been able to professionally be a comedian and an actor for over 20 years. People that I work with here fairly, people that I have professional relationships with, will in many senses agree to come on and serve as a mentor for the challenge. I feel very blessed.
With so much of the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge being based on Nick's personal career and experience, what else can we learn from his hustle?
It's just baby steps. Same for my own career and for my own stand-up, doing it for free, sleeping in Penn Station, going back and forth from Philly to New York, paying to do comedy because it would cost more for me to get to a gig than I would make.
I do not endorse sleeping at Penn Station.
It's a gradual process. So I think don't put too much pressure on yourselves of saying, I'm only giving myself 3 months, and if I don't make it, it's it, No. You made it because you're doing it. You make your film. And you know what? If there's some sound issues or something else, don't worry. You made something. You put it out there in the world. Focus on the next thing. You can always do another color pass or something else. But I always tell people too, put it out there. Make sure it gets out there, because guess what? You're never going to get discovered if you don't put yourself out there. You belong. Get yourself out there. Build your team.
I know several of you are listening and want to make a film for next year's challenge.
Step 1, register and put it out there. It's the same way I did for myself. Use your own network to further yourself in your mission and put people together.
At the time of this recording, the dates for the 2026 Easterseals Disability Film Challenge aren't available. But head on over to disabilityfilmchallenge.com for more information and follow them on social media.
at Disability Film Challenge. And also follow me at Nick Novicki, NICNOVICKI. In LA, I'll be doing shows at the Flappers Comedy Club. So if you're in LA, send me a message. I may be able to get you a comp or a discounted ticket. I'm in the TV show Bad Thoughts that just dropped on Netflix. You can see me in episodes 4 and 5. I have some other projects I can't talk about because I just signed an NDA. And I'm going to keep making my own stuff too. I'm not just preaching it.
Shout out to Nick Novicki, disabled filmmakers, and those who are actively working to increase authentic representation. And shout out to Social Audio Description Collective at socialaudiodescription.com. When folks come on the podcast and they share their experience, their knowledge with the family, they themselves become part of the family. So you, Nick Novicki. In 2014, I introduced you to this podcast. It's a passion project. It means all love, no cash. Over 10 years, bringing you nothing but facts. My goal for this has always been impact. I invite a guest, take a topic, tailor it just for you. A disability perspective always shining through. So thanks to my guests for sharing your time with me. You official. Read My Mind Radio family. Official. Official. Hey, hey, hey. Official. Read My Mind Radio family. Official. Now who's official? Nick. Official. Nick. Official. Nick Novicki. Official. You official. Read My Mind Radio family.
I love it.
For all those thinking, now what can I do? I wrote a checklist for you to become official too. You'll never be down if you don't follow or subscribe. That's the #1 way for you to join this tribe. Tell all your friends and your foes, that's the way we help each other and the podcast grows. Buy merch, a shirt or hoodie for yourself or your boo. Now look at that, baby. You official too. Official. Official. Hey, hey, hey. Official. 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 You official. Read My Mind Radio family. Official. Now who's official? I said, who's official? You official. Read My Mind Radio family. There it is. Follow or subscribe wherever you get podcasts. You know how we do, right? Woo. Transcripts and more are available at readmymind.com, and so there is never, ever any confusion. That's R to the E.
D, and that's me in the place to be.
Like my last name.